Okay. Can we start now, Dr. Lily?
Yes, you can start now, Dr. Khalil.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dr. Lee, Dr. Suhaili, Associate Professor Dr. Suhaili. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. Welcome to all the participants and thank you for joining to this webinar. I'm Associate Professor Dr. Khalilah Abdul Khalil, Head of Postgrad Studies UiTM, and I will be a moderator for this webinar. All right, in this sharing session with entitled of 10 little known strategies from the most successful supervisors, we are glad to have here two speakers, one from social science and also another one is science from science and technology. I believe that both of them have an interesting experience as a supervisor and hope they can share with us tips on strategy to be a successful supervisor. Allow me to introduce our speakers. Our first speaker is Professor Dr. Mohammad Salehuddin Muhammad Zahari. He is from Faculty of Hotel and Tourism Management. He obtained his PhD degree in Hospitality Management from the Lincoln University, New Zealand. Before joining the university, Professor Dr. Salehuddin has gained more than 10 years experience working in the various hotel and food service organizations locally and internationally, like Europe, United States of America, the United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand. Academically, Professor Salehuddin has published more than 200 of academic materials, including books chapter, monograph, manual, journal articles, and processing papers in area of culinary arts, gastronomy, food service, hotel operation, tourism, and etc. Okay, he has a graduate 21 PhD student and more than 50 Master of Research and coursework student. Professor was also one of the recipient of Best Supervisor Award UiTM in 2018. He is a chairman for the international conferences, a member of International Council on Hotel, Restaurant and Institutional Educators, academic advisors and board of director for several hospitality institutions of higher learning, IPTA and IPTS, and a columnist for several food magazines. All right. As for our second speaker, is Senior Dr. Mohammad Hussain Jusoh, which is currently an associate professor at Faculty of Electrical Engineering, University of Mara. He also a director of Center for Satellite Communication in UiTM. He has experience in leading a Malaysian scientific expedition team to Antarctic in 2016 and was the project leader for UiTM Nano Satellite Project, UiTM SAT-1, which the successful launch to space in 2018. Yeah, with the success of UiTM Nano Satellite Project, he was appointed as visiting professor at Kyushu Institute of Technology, Japan since 2018 until now. Currently, Dr. Mohammad Hussain is PI for Asian Sat Nano Satellite Project under mostly in collaboration with Philippines, Thailand, and Japan, and project director for Malaysia-Russian Antarctic project. Okay, since 2014, Dr. Mohammad Hussain is a supervisor of 16 postgraduate students. 8 of them was graduated and 8 students are still ongoing. And out of 16 students, 10 students were graduated with JOT. We are really lucky to have these two experienced academicians to be with us to share tips, guide, and perhaps motivate us to be a better supervisor in two different perspectives, which is one a very experienced supervisor and also one I can say that another newcomer but excellent supervisor. Before we start, I would like to make an announcement to all participants. If you have any burning question during the session, you are invited to type your question in Q&A chat box panel. Yeah, inshallah later I will share the question to our speaker at the end of the session. Right? Without any ado, can we start, Prof. Salehuddin and also Dr. Huzaimi?
Sure.
Yes, sure.
All right. I believe our supervisor have their own experience to deal with a different level of academic background and perhaps culture of each postgrad student. Prof. Salehuddin, would you like to share with us your experience, yeah, for a number of years to be a supervisor, how you deal with this deal with a different background or culture of the students.
Okay, thank you, Moderator AP Dr. Khalilah, panel AP Dr. Huzaimy, and the AP Dr. Shuhaili for inviting me for this session. Thank you very much. I'm the one to say that I'm a good supervisor, but then we've been given a task to supervise and relate to the question about my experience as supervisor in handling different level of academic background and culture of postgraduate study. I'm actually actively supervising student in 2005, getting students from different academic level, background and culture background, and the majority of them are among the Malaysian, which are to me quite easy as we share the common language, common bahasa. Any different and any difficulty facing by the student, sometimes they don't understand some of the English things like that, but we can at least use the word of Bahasa Malaysia to explain. However, when dealing with international student, the situation probably different. Okay, we can't even use the word of Malay. Probably they understand a few words, but to me, I have experience of supervising 6 international students. One of them is Arab, 2 Iranian and 2 Indonesian, and currently I have another 2 Indonesian still in progress. In this sense, to me, my experience is that monitoring process toward the student need to be heightened all the time. Okay, regardless at the beginning of their process or toward the end of their embarking into the PhD. And as I say, we are not a native speakers of English native speaker. Therefore, the writing part of the thesis, based on my experience, is the most hardest part of student and supervising them. Okay, in fact, we are dealing with some of them are the fresh graduate, and some of them are matured student. So therefore, we need to treat them. My experience, I treat them differently. Fresh graduate, I use little bit of what we call it a firm style of supervising, whereby the matured one, I need to mellow down little bit, okay, in order for them or encourage them not to quit the program thing. Yeah, so I think at the moment, as of today, I've graduated 21 PhD students, 7 with GOT, and more than 50 students by research and coursework. In fact, I really enjoy because although I'm what we call it a chef by profession, but now I live cooking quite like 20 years, but venturing into research. Now I really adore or engross with research. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, Prof. Okay, you said that your student have various background in terms of like for international student, yeah, and also local student. How you coordinate how you coordinate the communication among them, because we know that some of the students not really good in English, and another one may be really good in English. How you coordinate that?
You mean in terms of strategy, or you asking in terms of strategy, or in terms of coordination among the student?
Yeah, coordination among the student, because the language is very important in order to get a good message, yeah, in order to do the research and so on.
Okay,
So
thank you. I always tell my student that during supervision, you are my student, but after supervision, you are my friend. We can have coffee together, but during the supervision, then I'm a quite strict person that I need to see the outcome. I don't want to waste my time. I said, I don't want to waste my time with the student without any outcome. Even the outcome is not, I don't expect the outcome is so huge, but then bit and pieces. To me, that is very crucial and very important in terms of getting students into the research work. It's not an easy task to attract the student into the research. Yeah, this is a big task for the supervisor. Though, as a supervisor, we need to always encourage them to do things. Okay, my keywords that you don't just come to me bringing your body, but I need you come to me bringing your thought. Bringing your whatever, something that benefit to yourself. Okay, that is my keyword to the student when we first meeting. Okay, thank you.
okay, how do you strategize, Prof, to have a good graduates and also GOT?
Let me share my a slide. Yeah. Okay, can you see that?
No, not yet, Prof.
Can you see my slide?
It's not appearing.
Not yet.
It's not appearing yet.
Okay, right. Closed. Share. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. This is my what we call it 10 strategy that I can put it. Okay, supervising. Number one, we become as a supervisor. To me, we become a guide and a mentor to the student. Okay, this is important. In fact, in early stage, I always mention to the student with my keyword. All right, when the first meeting, I said we have a verbal agreement made. If you agree with my term, then we can proceed. If you don't agree with my term, I tell student that you can change the supervisor. Mutual understanding. The term is that don't waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. That is verbal agreement. If they agree with that, then I say we can proceed. Then number two is that I need to develop what we call, what I term as positive mental attitude. This is very important to me because I think that we should avoid of a negative connotation. We need to be all the time positive in whatever we do. Yeah, and number two is that establishing target. This in early stage, I will ask my student to do a milestone or Gantt chart. Yeah, that what is they need to follow whatever the plan and try to meet whatever plan made accordingly. Otherwise, you won't graduate within a stipulated time. Okay. Number 3 is that commitment and discipline. This is crucial for me, and to me, PhD, I don't need someone who really smart of doing PhD, but I need a committed and disciplined student. But if the student has both traits, it's much better. Okay. In this sense, if the student promised to do something, then I keep asking, you need to fulfill whatever you promise. Otherwise, you don't abide with agreement that you made it before. Okay. And number 4, consistent meeting. Okay, consistent meeting that in actual fact, in the beginning or initial stage of embarking into PhD, this is the period whereby that the supervisor and the student need to have a frequent meeting. Yeah, not once a month, but to me, I make a point that you have to see me once a week with the line of thought, because the early stage of embarking into research, this is a critical time, whereby the student is try to find a suitable topic, reading a lot to get the topic, things like that. This the time that supervisor played an important role. Yeah, and the next one is number 5. This is also important to me. We have to be ungrudging with time. In Malay, I use the Malay word, jangan berkira dengan masa. Okay, ungrudging with time. Whatever, time is not the main issue. Okay, do not count. Okay, do not count the time. I always say that we have to make time. When students say that we are tiring of doing things that I don't have time, I quote the word or a surah in Al-Quran. Always I say that to my student, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. Human being is created to be a lethargic stage. Human being is created to be tired. If you don't want to be tired, don't be a human. That is my key word to the student. All right. Okay. Then for the full-time student, they have to fix the schedule. Even frequent meeting need to be done, especially in the early stage of embarking into research. For part-time, we need to schedule. I need to schedule them, and I always ask them to schedule yourself, and you need to make time. Okay, the next one is number 5. Number 6 is ungrudging with places of supervising. Okay, so this is also important for any social research. We can supervise at any place. For social science, pure science, probably they have lab and others. But for social science, we can meet in the office, we can meet in the restaurant, and even home. I always invited my student and to supervise at home. This is because my wife is also as a supervisor. She also is a lecturer, so she understands the situation, how to supervise the student. Even I have one corner in my house just to supervise the student. Things like that, right? Okay, this is the most important elements to me. Okay, which is number 7, supervising style and approach. Okay, we normally as a supervisor ask students to read journal. Okay, to read. I change a little bit of my style. I ask students to read the journal, but they need to write whatever they have read. A short enough. In every let's say they start with an issue or background of the study. They read something. They need to write the background of the study, bit and thesis. Okay, then read another journal, add up into it, write, because we need to train. As I say, that research been done, that I did a research that what is the factor, the underlying factor that delaying of student of submitting their research or thesis. One of the important finding is that writing is the most critical element for the student. So therefore, with that, I use and I ask my student to write whatever you read. Those are important ones. It doesn't matter whether right or wrong. Write first in the whatever subtopic or heading that you are into, right? And then then they need to rephrase whatever they read. Whatever they read in the journal or books, whatever, they need to rephrase and putting into the putting into the subtopic. Okay, this is based on the outlooks of the research itself. Okay, and then number 8, reading and editing. Okay, this is another, I don't know, I would like to share my style here, that I've normally, when students write something, I don't wait for the chapter to finish and to read. And then I don't encourage them to submit a hard copy. But I need for them to submit a soft copy, sitting together, reading together, and editing together. I normally turn my computer with the student and then read line by line, editing, and teach them how to write. This is the most important, because if you leave it to them to write first, finish the chapter, submit to the supervisor, and the supervisor check the hard copy, and then scribble whatever need and return back to the student, it will take time for the student and it will take time for the supervisor itself. To me, my philosophy is that get into the hardest part of it earlier rather than toward the end of the student journey. Okay, then number 9, a close monitoring. This is another important matter. Close monitoring. We need to do the monitoring process, asking students from time to time. Never stop asking. All right. Sometimes we need to listen to their problem as well. Okay. They are students like ourselves also. They're having a problem. Some facing a problem with families, having problem with work. We need to be a good listener and advise them and monitor whatever process that they do. I always say to the student, you are spending money, but I don't want to waste your money with nothing. So that is my amanah to you. Then I need to fill my amanah. I will be asked by God, okay, and hereafter what I did to my student, what is contribution to my student. This is very important, and you need to be a class in whatever you do. Okay. Okay. The last one, I can say that you need to have the continuous encouragement. This is very important. Be positive in anything you do. Don't look into the negative part. If you look the negative part, we will never go anywhere. So therefore, continuous encouragement. I always use quoting the Surah Al-Quran with my student. Beside supervising, da'wah had to be made to the student, because God bless is very important to me. Okay, because you get something, the reward out of it. So never stop of encouraging students keep advising. Okay, to me, they are your research partner. Then later on, we need, or during the process, we need to publish the paper. Because I've seen there's a lot of, sorry to say this, a lot of people are putting their thesis student in their shelf, in the office. Okay, to me, I have another question if they put it like that. Does it been published or do it be published? If it's not published, to me, it's not enough. People need to know our work. World need to know we need to share the knowledge to the world, and the world should know our work by publishing the outcomes of the finding from our student. Okay, let's start with referee journal. It doesn't matter. Let's start with the referee journal, but later on you climb the ladder into the Scopus journal. So that's what I did, and now I will never send my paper to referee journal, but only send to the Scopus Index journal. With that, thank you very much. I hope that my sharing session is beneficial to all, and sorry to whatever language that I used. And then this is not to say that I'm a good supervisor, but Alhamdulillah, when you do something based on ikhlas, Allah will help you and God will give you rewards. And I got the best supervisor in 2018. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. For very nice strategies supervising. As we can see that with the 10 strategies, I think time is very, very important, Prof.
Yeah.
How you manage your time? Because if you look at the strategies, and we know that you are very, very busy man, yeah. And I think all supervisors here also have a lot of work as well. But we need to have this supervision to supervise students. So how you manage?
That's why I said time is critical, because God given us 24 hours a day. I say, then within the 24 hours you need to fulfill your time. Right now, every night I supervise my student through Google Meet, half an hour. Every night, half an hour, unless I have urgent matters. Yeah, the student is from Universiti of Padang, both of them. Okay, we meet every night, bit and pieces. Then I ask them to write. Later on, next day, I said, you need to show to me. Even though with 5 statement or 6 statement, 5 line or 6 line, so correct it there and then. I don't want to do it later on. You give me the whole piece, the whole piece of your thesis, and let me read at the end of your period. I don't want to do that. Okay, correction to be made. Okay, later on. With that, doing that is work. It works, really work. I have 2 students got 1 in their Viva without correction. So with that, I thought that it does not work, but it works to me. It works really well. So therefore, I keep practicing this, keep practicing the momentum, and Alhamdulillah, it works. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. In Senior Dr. Huzaimy, as we know that in this current situation, student movement are very limited, yeah, and leads to slow down their research activities and perhaps affect their study duration. In your perspective, how do you cope with this? And I mean, how do you motivate the student to keep on track?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Moderator PM Dr. Khalilah. And then first of all, thank you the organizer IPSIS, PM Dr. Suhaili, and also the panel today as well, together with us, Prof. Salehuddin. I think I learned a lot actually from the sharing from Prof. Salehuddin, from the established supervisor, I think. And then for me, I just had the experience to supervise student since I graduated from my PhD from Kyushu University of Japan at the end of 2013. So I start to have a student from 2014. So I just have around 6 years, 6 years experience on this. And currently, I'm supervising the around 16 students, where 12 of PhD students, and then I have 4 master students. Most of students are PhD students. So means that, and then the background of the students, normally the student that I receive more matured student. So they are working with the government agencies from Malaysia Space Agency, and then from the university. So they are lecturers and so on. So to respond to your question, Dr. Khalilah, because right now this is unexpected situation, the pandemic COVID-19. It's challenging not only for the student and also for the supervisor, because the supervisor having the another task other than supervision. We have to deal with the teaching and learning, and then the committee, and then the research plus the supervision of project. So means that for this one, in terms of the supervision, first we need to have a plan. So I think most of the points that I'm going to share here is already have been mentioned by Prof. Salehuddin. I'm trying to align with the science and technology approach. So first, we need to have a plan, and then this plan should be flexible. So this plan can be translated into the Gantt chart, proper Gantt chart. This Gantt chart is should be customized or designed based on our strength, based on our plan. Where are we heading? Where are we going to? So this is the Gantt chart is very important. This Gantt chart should be dynamic. Means that time to time we can revise. We can revise and then update based on the current situation, either the pandemic situation right now, the limitation with access to the laboratory, access to the industry, access to the some materials. This is the challenge right now. And then with this one, if we can have a proper Gantt chart, I will share later my slide on the how is it we are going to plan the Gantt chart, proper Gantt chart. And then next is the continuous monitoring, continuous monitoring or consultation. In Japanese, they said horenso. I'm also include the points in my slide. We have horenso. Horenso like a short consultation, not necessarily to have like 1 hour or 10-minute consultation. We can have like a continuous consultation, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes per session, then just update what's the current situation, what is it the previous one, the previous works, the current progress, and then what is it the plan, the future plan. This is the short consultation, continuous consultation with the supervisor. Means that supervisor need to take the proactive step, and then the student also need to play their role. So this is the time that I'm sometimes mentioned to my student, because we also supervisor also busy with so many things right now working. So if I forgot if I forgot to ask you, then you have to approach me. But at least you need to have some updates every 1 week, or at most every 2 weeks for this one. This is during this pandemic. Okay, and then other than that, we also organized before the pandemic. We have we call it Zemi or seminar. Zemi is in Japanese word, or seminar, continuous seminar between the research group. So this is the time where we can have different views, different angle of approach for our research. Means that for this one, we may see our research approach, our research methodology is maybe stuck somewhere during this pandemic situation. So when we look into a different approach by the other students, the other team members, then we may have the idea how to cope with what is it, our objective, but different ways. So the research methodology is very important for this one. And then other than working in group for this one, I'm also the approach that we have imposed is every students normally work within the special project. This special project is normally aligned or attached with industry. So means that when we attach the student with the industry, even during this pandemic, the project with industry is ongoing. It's still go on. So and then every week or every 2 weeks, we need to update with the industry, with a collaborator, international collaborator. This is the time where the situation that or pandemic that we have is not affecting too much on the student progress. For example, as we are right now working with ASEAN-SAT. ASEAN-SAT is a second satellite project of UITM. We are right now developing UITM SAT2 in collaboration with Japan, Philippines, and Thailand. We just received a grant from MOSTI. So for this one, every 2 weeks, we need to update the progress with our colleagues, with our research colleagues, not only from Malaysia, but from the other countries. Means that before this, we always thinking that, oh, we need to have a progress meeting, we need to fly to Japan, to Philippines or Thailand. But right now, I think this is a bless during this pandemic. We can have every 2 weeks meeting, progress meeting. So the progress is ongoing. Means that for the research, we not necessary or try to have alternative backup. Means that from this one, whatever happen locally or within our group or in the lab, in the faculty, we can have another methods, we can have another alternative backups that to ensure our project is ongoing. So this is what we are imposing, what we are applying for the project right now to respond to your question, Dr. Khalilah. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Huzaimy. Yeah, I do agree, because with pandemic, there are a lot of challenges, yeah?
Yes.
Not only to the student, but as well to the supervisor as well. Yeah, because we need to fit in with the situation, yeah, and in order to make sure that the student keep on moving and keep on motivated.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
About the strategy, do you use that same strategy to because you are one of the supervisor that able to obtain 10 PhD student with GOT, right? So is there any special strategy, or you use the same strategy to achieve that kind of excellent supervisor?
Okay. Can you see my slide, Dr. Khalilah?
Yes.
Okay, let me share this slide. Most of the points here mentioned here have been mentioned by Prof. Salehuddin. Means that we are the same, almost using the same strategies, same fikrah, something like that. Okay, getaway to graduate on time. I'm going to share just a few points to share with, and then I think this is also workable for not only for the student, also for the supervisor. And then I'm not here to give talk, something like that, just to share the experience, because I think with my limited experience, just around 6 years in supervising the students, this is what I can see from my perspective. For the first one, for the student, and then this is also workable for the lecturers, supervisor. First, when the student approached supervisor or approached me to do their PhD or their master, the first question we will ask, I need to ask, why you are pursuing, what is it your target, your future career, at the end of master, at the end of PhD, what you want to be. From this one, we can customize the supervision style. For example, if a student come to us and then would like to do PhD with us, and then when we ask, okay, the student mention his or her plan to be a lecturer, for example, then we train them to be the process, the PhD process, train them to be a lecturer in terms of the research methodology, in terms of the network, the collaboration, in terms of the publication. So this is we try to focus with the student. If the student mention he or she want to be a researcher in the industry, or to be an engineer in industry, then the process is normally we assign the student with the collaboration project with the industry. It's easier for them at the end of their study. They have experience to attach with the industry. Just to share, the previous students that I'm supervised, we had 2 years the student attached to the faculty or to my lab, and then on the final year during their writing, I will send them to my collaborator. One of them we sent to Malaysia Space Agency, then one of them we sent to TNB Research in Bangi. So they have 1 year experience attached with the industry. They're using the term industrial terms, and then attached with the industry workflow. So at the end, they have experience with industry, and then both of them are attached with the industry right now. And then the supervision style, as Prof. Salehuddin mentioned, we have different background of the students. So some fresh student need different approach. A matured student need a different approach, more to friends, more to research colleagues. So this is how we need to be more flexible with the students. Second one is as I mentioned earlier is more to research supervision approach. Research supervision approach. First one is Horenso. This is the term of Japanese term. Horenso is weekly. So we have a short consultation meeting just to update what you have done, what is it the challenge, what is it the problem, what is it the plan, the materials that you are using, and so on. Just to discuss, even if the student don't have any progress, just to discuss what is it the challenge, or what is it the plan. Okay, you don't do anything for the past week, so what is it the plan right now? So this is the paper, or the student just came and then shows, okay, they just download the papers. They just downloaded the papers. Okay, this is the papers they downloaded. Okay, next week they will come and then discuss the papers, for example. And then we also have the ZEMI monthly progress. This is a research seminar, work in team. So teamwork, sharing the results means that in a certain project, research, let's say we need to achieve to get, for example, in one subtopics, one research topics, need to have, let's say the student need to have 3 results. Not necessarily that particular student need to work on that all 3 results by his or her own. He can do 2 results, for example, and then another 1 result. He can collaborate with another student, and then the other student can be the co-author for the papers. Same case go to the other students, so they can share the result. So this one we can have shorten the time. We can have interdiscipline research, and then ongoing supervision also will become more easier. And then, as I mentioned earlier, always have backup alternatives. Dr. Khalilah, you can hear me? Yeah? Still you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Okay, okay, good. Okay. Always have backup alternatives. Means that we as supervisor need to find or to appoint co-supervisors. We need to have backup to help us in the certain topics. So this co-supervisor will help us to give different inputs to the student. Also will help us to supervise the student. And then the student also will have alternative inputs, approach, views for their study. So this is very important, co-supervisors. In Japan, they use the term big sensei, small sensei. So you have the main supervisor, or small sensei means that the co-supervisor to help them more on the very detailed works, research progress, something like that. And then the research methods. The research methods is very important. Research methods means that we need to train the student. We need to train the student, the research, to be strong in research methodology. And then the student need to masterize the research methodology, because when they graduated, if they want to supervise the student, they might be looking into different topics of research. If the research methodology skills is a very strong, then you can do whatever research, whatever topics, because the research methodology we already masterize the research methodology. And then plus alternative of equipment or collaborators, something like that. So means that if we have to deal with certain equipment, we also need to have another backup alternative equipment if this one is not working. Because for the science technology, normally we rely on the equipment. Something that normally that delay our research progress, our result, our target is because of the equipment. Sometimes we need to queue with another students, another research groups. We need to, sometimes equipment is broken. Sometimes equipment need to be calibrated. So this is where we need to plan ahead and then have the alternative equipments. This one should be achieved, should be planned at the early stage of the research. And then we need to know the details, processes for Viva. So this one is very important for this one, because during the first week, I normally discuss with students. I will ask the student what is it the period of their scholarship, for example, or if they are going to receive the grant, research grant. Okay, this is the plan. You only have 36 months, 3 years, for example, or you have 4 years a period to achieve your target or to get the GOT. For example, here I'm sharing. Dr. Khalilah, can you see this one, this slide right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. First, okay, we have the research progress earlier, and then once we complete of all research objectives, normally we will start to do the writing, submission, and everything. But need to bear in mind, at the end, we need, for example, we are targeting the GOT. I'm just putting here the GOT, for example, 36 month. M36 is month 36, for example, here. In certain cases, we have 48 4 years period of GOT. But for the students who receive the TPM, for example, Tenaga Pengajar Muda yang scheme scholarship, or under SLAP-SLY, they just given exactly 36 months. For this one, we need to have the target. So it means that by month 36, maximum, we need to have a Senate letter. The Senate letter will be endorsed or will be after the Senate meeting, will be endorsed from the Senate meeting. Senate meeting, we need to understand. Supervisor need to understand how frequent the Senate meeting. For example, every month or every 2 months. Right now, we have a monthly meeting for the Senate meeting. So means that our student, the result of our student, the final one, need to be endorsed in the Senate meeting by latest month 36 to be able for them to achieve the GOT. This is the case of 36. And then we need to move backwards for this one, like a reverse engineering. Before the Senate meeting, we have the submission of final thesis. The submission of final thesis of this one, it takes 2 months. This is final thesis after the viva, after the correction. 2 months before the process with the faculties, and then next the endorsement with faculties, and then go to the process with the IPSIS, and then the final checking, formatting and everything, and then before we go to the Senate. And then this is 2 months. So we need to submit this one month 34. And then before that, we have normally, for example, if you got minor, if the student got minor correction, so we will have around 3 months, for example, around 3 months for thesis correction. So month 31, we need to do the this one, and then this one, the thesis correction, normally just immediately after the viva was session. So around month 31, student need to have the by letters need to have viva on the month 31. And then before that, the student need to submit the thesis to faculty. It takes 3 months before we go into to the viva. If we have the panel, which is can go through our thesis, the student thesis, very fast, and then we are lucky on that. Normally, in average 3 months before panel ready to call for viva was. So means that final thesis month 28, and then before that we need for submission of LOI for this one, submission letter of intent. It is around 90% of the thesis stage for this one. And then before that, thesis approval by SV. So month 27, SV already approved the thesis. So means that the student need to submit the first draft of thesis to SV, and then normally it takes around 3 months. We need to have first version, and then the supervisor do the correction and everything. Okay, return to the student, and then you will have second version, return back, and then the supervisor said need to add some more analysis, maybe to remove some parts, and then just to align with the objective, how to do the result discussion and everything. So around 3 months. So this is month 24. Month 24 or 25, this is the end of second year. Means that we need to complete, the student need to complete the research objectives around month 19. So 3 months takes for thesis writing, or if the student can do the writing earlier, then it will be shorten the time. This is the case for 3 years. Means that if we can study the whole process here, also need to be understood by the supervisor, and then this is the plan. Means that at the early stage we need to inform the student, okay, this is the process. It takes around almost 1 year for the process, submission the first draft to SV until the Senate meeting. If everything goes well, it takes around 1 year for the process. So this is we understand the process, then it will be easier. Okay, go back to this one. I have another 2 points here. I think I will make it faster. Yeah. So prepare your own Gantt chart, flexible, dynamic, based on strength. I'll just to share the Gantt chart from my student here. So from this Gantt chart, for example, we should ask the student to prepare detailed Gantt chart. From the process, start from where the student need to start the project, and then where is it is going to complete the objective. When the student need to complete the objective 1, objective 3, objective 2, and objective 3. And then at the end, this one, we need to state what is it the period for this one to as a completion for each milestone. And then also includes here the grant. What is it the grant application student need to do? The publication, which publication need to do? Then when will be the publication? This is an example of Gantt chart. And then the last point is very important point. Since we are dealing with a supervisor, this is normally the point for the student for this one. We need to understand, we need to know how to supervise your supervisor. Means that we need to understand how our supervisor works, their mission, their vision, how the style of supervision, our supervisor's strength, and then the what is it the interest of supervisor, and then means that we can manage the supervisor in terms of time, when it will start, will finish the supervision. So this is very important. I think take home points here, plan ahead. So achieve progress beyond the supervisor's expectation for this one. And then other than research, we also belongs to our family, join social activities. And then as I think Prof. Salehuddin also mentioned on this one, research only needs 10% of intelligence, while another 90% is persistence or istiqamah or focus, or how we are going to do this one is continuous. This is persistence. But more important thing, we need to ask only Allah, so He will definitely grant the best for us. These some photos after Viva students progress, very happy faces here, and then some photos of activities with the students, as we are doing a lot of program outside. The student involved in collaboration with industries, the international collaborators, and then this is my experience doing this one, how we can connect this, the project with the students, our installation with Peru, Bermuda and Indonesia. And then this is very important photo for me, as this is December 2011. After this one, because I started my PhD around April 2010, December 2011. After this one, my supervisor is having a brain hemorrhage, means that he forgot everything. So after 8 months, 8 to 10 months of my PhD study, he forgot everything. He even forgot his students. He forgot his student. So it means that during this time, it's very important to work in group, research group, and everything. So this is I think the end of my sharing session, Dr. Khalilah. Thank you, everything. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Huzaimy. I think the most important things is the plan, right? Well planned.
Yes.
Yeah, by the supervisor as well by the students, in order to coordinate the towards GOT. One question. By looking at that, the time frame, yeah, I know some of the students really good in doing research in lab work, right? Mm-hmm. But yet when it comes to writing part, it's really, I mean, it's quite difficult. Yeah, but some students they're good in writing, but not really good in research in lab work. okay, for that group, right? Because GOT, most of the like GOT, one of the important one of the factor is the writing part. It will drag a lot of students to achieve the graduate on time. So as a supervisor, Dr. Huzaimy, how you keep on, how you can motivate the student to keep on do their writing within the time frame.
For example, if writing the paper or writing the journal or thesis, for each student need to have, for example, when they are preparing the thesis, for example, preparing the thesis, each student need to have at least 3 benchmark thesis. PhD thesis from the completed or established thesis. Means that when they doing the writing, the thesis writing, they have benchmark. The benchmark not necessarily on their topic, but let's say the project is more on the development, system development. Means that they need to have another thesis, benchmark thesis, working the previous student working on the development. Means that they can have a proper guide. So meaning to say not short sendiri lah. Means that so they have a guide, a benchmark. Where are they when doing the thesis? Same goes to when they want to prepare the journals. When they want to prepare the journals, okay, this is the guide. The guide, if they want to prepare the journals, we have like benchmark or reference. So at first stage for the student, early stage of a student, normally we encourage the student to do just a simple proceeding paper, conference papers, and then just a simple papers, and then at the first stage, we ask the student to just imitate, not copy, but imitate the flow of the papers, the previous one, the flow of the papers, like a section by section, just imitate the flow, and then this one for early stage of students, and then later when they have the experience, and then they start to refer more index journal, high impact factor, and then from that they will groom. So means that they always need to have benchmark or reference, a proper reference. And of course, in terms of supervisor, we also need to have a continuous checking, continuous discussion on the paper, on which result, on the discussion, when the student receive the comments from the reviewer, and then we also need to have to give a close guide. This is normally we spend a lot of time with the student during the early stage of their study.
Okay,
yes,
thank you, Dr. Huzaimy. A very nice strategist input from both speakers, yeah, Prof. Salehuddin and also Dr. Huzaimy. I can see that in order to have this kind of quality as a good supervisor, there must be a criteria of a supervisor. What do you think, Prof. Salehuddin? What do you think that the best criteria to be a good supervisor? We need to unmute.
Okay, before I answer the question, I'd like to respond into the a question saying that people say PhD students should be independent. Of course, PhD students should be independent. The job of supervisor is monitoring. I told my student always to me, you don't come to me without any outcome. It just you, if you want come to me just to talk and just to say something without bringing anything of your piece of work, I won't entertain you. Yeah, you need to be, you have to be independent so that that when we say like that, the student will at least alert that they need to do something in order to see the supervisor. I encourage students to see me frequently, but then don't just come to me and talk with no outcomes. Okay, even though they produce a piece of work, but then we need to check, right, from time to time. Okay, and your question, you say that what is strategy to me is that you need sometimes as a supervisor, you need to burn yourself. Okay, you need to like the research. Research is your forte. Otherwise, you can't do that. Okay, you need to burn yourself for the student, for the benefit of both. To me, although we are a supervisor, but then learning process is continuously be done. Okay, we also learn. When we read the thesis of the student, bit and pieces, you understand better of the research. Things like that. So that's what I did. Okay, I won't entertain student. Come to me without bringing anything. You have to be independent. Then I just correct whatever you have written and we make correction together because I also learn from your work. That is my style of supervising. Okay, so otherwise it will drag time. Like I told my Arab student, he came 12 times during his PhD in Malaysia. He spent a lot of money staying in the hotel, taking a taxi to Shah Alam. I said no. First few trip, I said yes, you can stay in the hotel. But the last trip, like the 7th trip, he came to Malaysia. I stayed in my home, stay in my house, no problem. Things like that. So because we need to understand that they spend money from other country to come to our country, things like that. But we'll see how, because he's the older, I mean, a mature student, 50 years old student. But I so adore him because of his enthusiasm to study. And now he become a lecturer. He become a director of. He's still a director of tourism in Fujairah, UAE. Thank you.
Okay, Prof. Thank you so much. Personal touch. Yeah, I think personal touch is quite one of the important as well to the students. Yeah. All right. Can we take? There are a few questions in the box Q&A box. One question is from Makin Ali. The question is, what are burning and supervisor mindsets and good practices to achieve GOT during up and down of the journey? Is there any, Dr. Huzaimy, do you want to take the question to answer?
Okay, it's a very good question actually for this one. For this one, as I mentioned earlier in my slide, I think I've mentioned on this, means that first, yes, of course, we have the up and down. The process of PhD is something that I normally told my student, PhD, for example, for PhD is a period where learning process, we want to know ourselves. We want to know ourselves to be a better person, because we are doing a degree, the highest degree in the world, the highest ranking degree in the world, because no more after PhD, no more after PhD. Okay, means that this is whereby we the process of to maturize ourselves, to we understand ourselves, means that during this time we need to have a the key points is plan. Plan is a very important. Second thing is the working in groups. Working in groups means that at least we have somebody to share our challenge, our restriction, and then our problem. For example, means that if we have our research colleagues, our research group are able to help us or to do some maybe sharing means that, for example, we have a problem, we have a challenge, we have a less motivation, for example. When we share with the other students, we feel that we are not lonely. Sometimes the student prefer to share certain things with their colleagues. They have a, I think everyone for supervisor, we set up a WhatsApp group. But the student itself, themselves, they will set up another group without supervisor for this one. For this one, so they are more comfortable to share something among themselves. Among the student also, the research colleague also, they also have a close friend. Okay, means that during up and down journey, we need to have a buddy. We need to friends to share our thought, for example, our experience, our challenge, and then mix with the others. So this is, I think, because the PhD is not the only things, or research the only thing that in our life. We also have something else, maybe our life something else to do. So I think this is the time where we need to have a balance. Means that when we have the balance, I think we can manage our project, our program, our research, our study better. Yes, Dr. Khalilah. Maybe Prof. Salehuddin have a bit.
You want to add, Prof?
Prof, mute.
Prof, you unmute your audio.
Noise echoes, my voice echoes, things like that. So I've read one of the questions saying that I'm slow in understanding of the issue when reading the journal. I'm look stupid in front of supervisor. To me, it doesn't matter, you know, when you embark on PhD, let's say when you undertaking PhD in overseas, sometimes you are alone, things like that. Sometimes you puzzle. Where am I doing in this country? Doing nothing. I have quite a good job and then sufficient salary. At the beginning of the stage, I said, why this supervisor asking a lot of things? You know, during the initial stage or early stage of the program, of the PhD program. You know, it doesn't matter. Whatever they want to say, lend your ears. Okay, lend your ears, then you listen to me, listen whatever the supervisor said. Like me last time, when supervisor said something, I tape. I used a tape recorder. I said, I want to tape your voice. He said, why? I said, yeah, I like your voice. You're like a singer. Because when you tape your voice and then you back to your house and you write whatever you listen to the tape and you present to your supervisor, they said, he will say that this is good. Of course good, this is your idea. Of course good, because that is your idea. Then later on say, why are you asking me to do this, to do that? You keep puzzling, things like that. But keep on. And then come when the time that is called a writer's block. You can't even do anything within 2 or 3 days. Because writer's block, you write, you cannot do anything. So take a break during that time. During my time in New Zealand, I take my, I go out and go fishing for the whole day, sitting at the beach, yeah, praying at the beach, things like that, for 2 days at least release the mind. Then come back. Then later on, you do better. So it doesn't matter whether your supervisor want to say something, but at the end of the day, you will say that, thank you very much for your advice. I told my supervisor last time when I finished my PhD around 3 years, I said, I want to kiss your belly. Things like that. Because during the process, we some sort like, why you say, why you do, why you want to do this, why you ask me to do this? But at the end of the day, what he says is right. Don't again your supervisor. Don't again, unless your supervisor is very, very tough and very, very demanding. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Can we take one question from Maurice Mutana? What is the effect of publication on high-index peer-review Q2 journals before Viva? Does publication confirm results? All right. Okay, then, Prof, can you take the question?
To Huzaimy or me?
Prof Salehuddin.
Okay, right. Publication, mean publication. Okay. I take a note here. They say that does publication confirm the result of research? Can the examiner comment to the change? Meaning that what the effect of the publication in high index before Viva? Student, some ask that question. Yeah, to me is that during the process, I normally do a research note to make the world know what about the research because we don't have the what we call the result yet. But when come the result, then that's why when the students submitted their what we call it the draft for examination, while waiting for the Viva, that is the time whereby the student can do whatever paper, things like that. Before that also we can do paper, but then you just only take something that you have the answer, you have the finding. Without the finding, I advise that do some sort like a research note. Okay, let the world know that you are undertaking this study. Yeah, that's right. Then later on, then you proceed with whatever variable you have in your study. Then you proceed for full paper for the journal. Of course, I know that if this put it a mandate that the student need to produce at least, I think, at least 2 papers before in order for them to submit their thesis. You can do through conference, things like that, through journal also. Like I say, if possible, if you still in the early stage, doesn't matter, let go for reference journal before go into Q1, Q2, and Q4, Q3, Q2, and Q1 journal. Okay, take the ladder, climb the ladder slowly. But inshallah, if you did maintain and you enthusiasm with that, consistent with that, we sooner or later can produce a good paper for good Scopus journal. Thank you.
Okay, another question from anonymous. Dr. Salehuddin can ask can take this question. How to have a good engagement with the supervisors during this ODL and during these super duper busy conditions? Thank you.
I'm not sure the question comes from student or supervisor because it's super duper busy. If the question comes from I think from the student, right? Because you want to engage the supervisor. Okay. For example, if you want to get engaged during this ODL or during the pandemic situation, for this one, keep in contact with a student. For example, I have it needs 2 to tango. It needs both supervisors and students for this one. During this time, we cannot go see face to face with the students, and then the lecturer itself need to either give proactive, just a WhatsApp, just at least the WhatsApp group of the postgraduate student is we have the inputs. Every few days we have the input. we are sharing the papers, we are sharing the progress, we are sharing the conferences, for example. Something means that it's not very silent. So means that we can have many ways of communication. Not necessarily we have like a Google Meet. Okay, every few days Google Meet, and then Google Meet, and then other than Google Meet face to face, we can have communication like in a WhatsApp group, communication through call and through email, and then this is one thing. Means that another approach for the student, for example, who would like to approach the lecturers, we can just update. I have my students from at the same age with me, working with industry, every few days he will update me, and okay, he's doing on something of this one, and then he's doing on he's reading the papers, for example, and then he's joining the short course. Means that we just keep update our supervisor whatever we are doing. There is no such thing of stupid things or very small things. So at least we have connection. We have connection with supervisor. That I don't think supervisor will always expect something big. As Prof Salehuddin mentioned, we always expect something big every time we have a discussion. Every time the student contact us. So at least we want to hear something from the students. So that's where very important how to supervise your supervisor. Look into what is it the soft points of our supervisor. Okay, thank you, Dr. Khalilah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Zahari. Another question, is about supervisor who not really expert in the research study. So any advantages or disadvantages do we have this kind of supervisor? I think this come from students. Maybe anyone, Prof or Dr. Huzaimy, like to answer this question?
Maybe okay, I will give some points, and then maybe Prof can add. I think Prof is more expert on this. Okay, for the students, when we would like to choose the supervisor, first we need to look into, of course, we have two conditions. First, we would like to have a supervisor who is expert in the area. And then we also sometimes we also need the student, the supervisor who is very friendly, not too strict with the student, but he or the supervisor may be not expert in the area which is we are interested of. So means that we can discuss with the supervisor. So let's say for my case, I prefer we go to the supervisor. We go to the supervisor who are we are comfortable with. First one, and then for the research topic, we can have co-supervisor for this one, who acts the expert in certain areas. So because for the PhD or postgraduate study, the key whether the supervisor would like to allow the student to graduate or not, the supervisor hold the keys. So means that even we are publishing Q1, Q2, there are several cases the student not have a very good relationship with a supervisor, then the supervisor will always find ways to delay the students' progress. So it means that we need to choose the supervisor that we are comfortable with first, and then later for the experts, but not totally different from our interest topic. Then we can have alternative, or we can have a co-supervisors in the topics that we are interested. This is my view.
Okay, if I can add a little bit on the Dr. Huzaimy's point of view, to me,
Yes.
learning process will never stop until we die. So therefore, the young supervisor should get, to me, the young supervisor should get advice from senior supervisor. What I practice in the faculty is that a fresh graduate lecturer with a PhD who is appointed as a second supervisor with the guidance of senior supervisor. So therefore, they can, meaning that they can exchange the experience from that. But sometimes we cannot be too, what we call it, greedy or confine knowledge to ourselves. We need to share the knowledge. Okay, like me, the old man, that I need to train the young one. So meaning that my knowledge is imparted to everybody. You will no longer stay in the ITM, or you will be paced out sooner or later. So therefore, the young one will take place, and we need to groom them, meaning that we cannot be stingy in terms of knowledge. And the young one, the young supervisor, should also not to hesitate to see the senior supervisor of getting the knowledge from there. Yeah, because knowledge like water flowing all the time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Prof. Salehuddin, for a very nice answer. I think most of the answer by two panels, some of the points answer the questions. Yeah. I cannot take the question because now we already have 11:27. Yeah, another 3 minutes. I think the most important thing is strategize to become a very good supervisor is first is well planned. Yeah, well planned. And time, yeah, as Prof said just now, teamwork, right? Teamwork, a good supervisory committee, as well as we also need to understand our student, and also student need to understand how supervisor works. I think the coordination is very, very important, yeah, because it's not only one way, what we call it, one way communication or one way works, but it must be two ways, yeah, because you know, in order to have this kind of a successful story, there must be a very good coordination with students and supervisors. I think thank you very much to our panel, to our speakers, Prof. Salehuddin, and also Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Huzaimy. Very, very nice input and tips to supervisors, yeah, and as well as to students, right? And we really hope that we can meet again in our next webinar, right? And to all the participants, thank you very much, yeah, for joining webinar today, yeah. Inshallah, next webinar will come soon, yeah, with another topics, yeah, and we try to give as much as input in order to guide GOT, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Khalilah.
Okey, tak payah keluar lagi. Tak apa.